Welcome back to Celtics post-game live. There you see it. The C's finishing the second highest field goal percentage in the history of this team. Right there. I mean, 66.7% from downtown came so close to what they did back in 1984. I was there watching the game against Golden State. That's jokes, but 67.9% was how they finished there. I mean, so close here tonight. And I think, Chris, you mentioned it best too, and Kevin, you know, the fact that they did this without their superstar in Jayson Tatum is just unbelievable. I know you got the Cavs.
We'll give you an update when that game goes to the final.
But I do want to get into the third quarter specifically, Chris, because like this is where I just think Jaylen Brown, he got the juice going towards the end of the second quarter, going into the half, came out third quarter, really dominating and setting the tone. What changed collectively?
I mean, they started playing a little bit of defense where in the first half you were kind of just okay to trade buckets. But I did like the way they finished quarters. Like, there's been a big talking point with Joe Mazzulla about finishing quarters, right? And we know Peyton Pritchard's going to hit buzzer beaters at that point. But sometimes the Celtics let go of the rope and let's say like a 10-point lead evaporates and now you're at halftime and it's close and you got to fight a little bit more. Jaylen Brown finished that second quarter dominant. It gave them some good vibes going into the halftime. And with the offense humming like it did, I mean, when you go for 43 points, plus 17 overall in that quarter, everything was just clicking. I like that everybody kind of had their involvement in it, but from hustling down loose balls like that to just the playmaking that was going on, it's almost criminal that they had, 39 assists on a non-Eddie House night?
I know.
Like I feel like he's sitting at home.
The special number 25.
He's definitely at home in Phoenix, you know, thinking like, damn, I missed the Celtics' best assist game of the year. Eddie, we're thinking of you. And when you have assist numbers like that. And but yeah, what an amazing performance. Again, I go back to it, just complete offensive domination.
Absolutely was. And I felt like Scal was right on when he said they did it the right way. There was a play in the middle of that third quarter, and the Nets are hanging around, and Jaylen Brown, who calls himself the best two-way player in basketball, I thought he made one of the best two-way plays that you can make. It's a tip ball around the half-court line, loose ball, gathers it in the corner of three, finds Keita in the middle of the paint for a layup. Those plays like that set a tone, and that's what Jaylen Brown has done all year long. And after the stinker against Denver, this was kind of a get-right game. First game back home, get it right. I thought it was really an interesting game for them just feeding Vooch against a weak Nets front line. Vooch in that first half got fed in the paint over and over, hit some threes as well. But the Celtics were last in the NBA with total post-ups at the time of the Vooch trade. They're still not running a lot of them at this point, but it's nice for them to have this layer added to their offense. And I thought this against a weaker Nets opponent, this is a good opportunity for him to get going, get set in this Celtics offense, and figure out the best ways to utilize him ahead of the playoffs and kind of a practice game against Brooklyn.
And everyone who was sounding off, like there was a lot of Vooch hate after that one game about the trade, about like, well, you know, obviously he's got some stuff to shore up, especially on the defensive end. But the apology forms will be available later if you want to apologize.
Wow. You're spitting fire here today. Yeah, no, it does make sense because Vooch is, 28 points, 11, 9 of 13. And Kevin, this is a guy who is still getting used to this team. Like he's still trying to find this offense, find the comfortability, make sure that he's getting better and better defensively. So what stands out in terms of the very few games that he's really been playing with the Celtics since the trade?
I mean, once Tatum's back, he'll be like the seventh guy.
Yeah, right.
There's less pressure. There's going to be certain playoff series where he might have to play 8 minutes, somewhere he plays 25. And I think that's the value here that you're hitting on, Kayla, when it comes to what he adds to this roster. He's a 7-footer who can shoot threes. He's a 7-footer who can post up. And yeah, he has some defensive limitations, but in the postseason, you're going to use him in situations that make sense. In the regular season, you're just rolling guys out there and playing with a deep rotation. And so when it comes to the playoffs and Mazzulla goes to his 8 or 9-man rotation, hopefully with Tatum back, that's where Vooch is going to be in his idealized role for the Celtics. And I think those apology forms will be getting filled out pretty nonstop.
I printed out a stack for anyone who needs one. Look, we'll find out a lot more on Sunday, obviously, if Embiid's out there. Like, he's going to have to be able to go up against physical centers and hold his own, and at least impose a little bit of a will, be a deterrent out there. Now, he will be playing mostly with reserve minutes, so they might match up more with backup bigs, let Keita fight in those situations. But I do think you see again tonight, like their offense just goes up a level. His ability to pass and spray the ball around, and they've only scratched the surface on how he can do that, and his ability to post up and finish around the basket if you can get, especially let's say Jayson Tatum comes back, so now you've got, whether it's Shireman or Ugo or somebody on the bench, like you're just going to be able to create mismatches when Peyton and Vooch are out there. Pick and rolls could be really fun with those two. And so that's what the last 24, 23 games here is going to be about, is like figuring out how this all looks as you start to kind of carve out that playoff rotation. But Vooch has a role on this team offensively. He's just got to be able to hold up defensively.
Yeah, and it's great when you have a guy like Vooch who can be the playmaker coming off the bench or maybe even starting, and they decide to go double big at one point, that they score the way they do here tonight, and then you see like Luka Garza come in, make it imprint in a little way when he hasn't had a lot of minutes, but this is how deep this team can be. I also want to add that Detroit and the Cavs are going into overtime as we
Free basketball.
So we will update you there, but let's for now go back to the TD Garden, hear from head coach Joe Mazzulla. The coach's press conference is presented by Amica Insurance, the exclusive auto, home, and life insurance partner of the Boston Celtics. Here's Joe.
Joe, in that third quarter, I felt you guys were playing out of 2-on-1s pretty seamlessly. What did you see from the way they were guarding you or from your guys' offense that allowed you guys to create those so easily?
I thought we just did a good job reading the game. They're good defensively as they have some different coverages, whether they're switching, whether they're blitzing, or whether they're just in drop there. So I thought, we just made the right reads throughout most of the entire game. I thought tonight Vooch looked really comfortable in his offensive reads and his offensive screening, and unlocked a lot of stuff for us. And so we just got to keep getting better at those. Just reading different matchups, making the right play.
I felt like you guys found success cutting when he was in the post. How much did that open up the offense? Is that something you guys have practiced? Like, what did that do for you guys?
I think it was, he's obviously a great passer. So it's something that you want to take advantage of. And, it's just, we have to continue to get better at that.
Joe, you mentioned Vooch, big game for him today. The ball found him a lot early. Was that by design, or was that something that the reads kind of called for and his screens created?
Yeah, no, I think the reads called for it. I thought our spacing was good. I thought his screening was good. I thought we found the advantage quickly, and I thought we just kept hammering that. So, it's a credit to him and his screening and his execution, and then to the guys finding him in advantages to make plays for himself or for others.
Joe, you repeatedly have like these opportunities, like first game back from a long road trip, to kind of give in to some of the things that other teams may seem to give into. What is it that kind of allows you guys to kind of fight off that kind of mentality and fight through some of the early maybe struggles to pull away in a game like this?
I think it just really starts with the guys, their competitive character. We have a lot of depth, regardless of who we put out there. We just compete at a high level. So I think it just really just says a lot about the guys, honestly.
So what's the process of integrating Vooch in terms of like getting him completely comfortable? And are you starting to see that progress?
Yeah. Well, I hope that he's never completely comfortable because then that means we don't get better. But it's really just whether it's walkthrough, whether it's film session, whether it's practice, just constantly, watching film, communicating. What do you see here? What can we get better at? Just small reads there, And the thing with him is like because of his versatility, he's going to see different stuff throughout, and we have to be ready to react to that as well as him. And so a lot of it is on just constant communication, especially him and his position coach, Emil, just constantly just watching film and getting better at those things. And he takes a lot of pride in that. And I thought tonight looked really comfortable on the offensive end, just making those reads.
And then 6 weeks left in the regular season. What do you want to see from your guys in terms of just taking steps forward? You could look at the standings and fight for whatever seed you want, but what are you looking for?
Yeah, I think consistency is the main thing, and then also just finding small ways to constantly get better. I think it's very easy this late in the season to just allow the simple fundamentals and details to slip. And that doesn't mean that it's going to guarantee winning, but it's constantly just loving the process of what we're trying to do. So there's always small habits that you have to fight to hang on to. And I think that's the biggest thing. And then, these games that we have a ton of great teams that we're playing against. They'll expose things that we'll be able to take with us and get better at. And so, how can we stay consistent in the fundamentals? How can we keep learning?
Joe, 38 assists tonight. Obviously, when you guys are shooting like you were, that number's going to be higher, but you guys have reached 30 twice in your last 5 games. Is there anything that you're seeing with the ball movement?
It's funny how people correlate assists to ball movement. Sometimes you only need one pass for an assist. We're making good reads and we're making shots. I think it's, so we have to continue to be able to do that. We have to make the right reads, and then we have to make shots. And a lot of that comes into what we're talking about, our screening, our spacing, our execution. When we execute and get to our spacing quickly, we can see the reads easier. When we make easier reads, you're getting easier shots, and then we got to knock them down. Thanks.
Joe Mazzulla there. Let's get to the turning point. It is presented by Awaken 180. Weight loss, turn it around. Take control like Jaylen Brown. It's possible with the solution for weight loss. Reserve your consult at awaken180weightloss.com. JB scored at one point 16 of the team's 20 points and assisted on the other 4 at the end of the second and towards the start of the third, going into the fourth quarter with 28 points and finishing the night with 28. This guy was dominant. Absolutely dominant.
He was so good at that stretch that he almost knocked over an official, and the guy was like, "Oh, that's cool. Do your thing, man."
The one time and the official look at each other and they're like, "Yeah, we're totally on the same page." Jaylen Brown crushing it here tonight. And guess what, Chris? It's going to be fun. Because you know what happens after the game here on Celtics Post Game Live? We got another edition of Celtics Post Up. Chris and I, it's the after party. We take a look at the lighter side of the seas and the NBA. Who knows? Maybe Kevin wants to
stick around.
It's presented by Eastern Propane.
Put some real pressure on him.
And oil, they're in your neighborhood. When we come back, we're going to dive into more highlights of this unbelievable game here tonight.
Brown posts up against Traore, scans, Gonzalez is open. What a find by Jaylen Brown.
JD should have broke out the binoculars on that one, KOC. That was a beautiful feed. One of 39 assists on the night for the Boston Celtics, who rout the Brooklyn Nets. Welcome in to Postgame Plus. Kevin O'Connor alongside. KOC, what's your big takeaway from tonight? A historic offensive performance from your Boston Celtics.
Nikola Vucevic, breakout performance for the Boston Celtics is my number one takeaway here. Obviously, it hasn't been great for him so far. Some criticism of his defense. He hasn't had a show-out performance offensively. But I thought tonight Boston fed him in the low post early. We saw him hit three-pointers. He made a difference on the boards as well. This is what they added him for. Boston was last in the NBA in post-ups when they acquired him. Now they're second to last, right ahead of the Charlotte Hornets. Vooch adds a new layer to this team. They're not going to face teams as weak on the front line as the Brooklyn Nets every single night, and they definitely won't in the postseason. But we saw an example of what can happen, Chris, when you have a guy who's just different than everybody else on your roster in Vooch. And so that's my number one takeaway tonight from Boston, aside from the assists, aside from the offensive explosion.
And if you're one of the people on Twitter that was very vocal after his performance and rough night in Denver, you can just go online, you fill out at your Twitter at name. Do apologize to Nikola Vucevic for all the slander, and we'll see where it goes. Like, I'm with you guys. Like, he's got to be better defensively, and we'll find out if he can go to another level there. But if tonight was a little glimpse into how good he can be offensively. Let's stay with Vooch. He's talking back in the locker room. The experience from the locker room is presented by Abu Dhabi. Experience Abu Dhabi. Discover more about the incredible city at visitabudabi.ae.